Welcome along to our brand new podcast here on AFTV called Gunners Unfiltered. I'm not scared of what you're going to say.
7 out of 10 for the transfer window.
You see what he's like, people? Turkish has an agenda against the owners of Arsenal Football Club.
How about we flip the script right now and change the
No, flip the script.
Open up your app now and let me put KSC in the search of transactions.
Remember Dennis Bergkamp?
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Remember Henry? If you was around then, you'd probably be slagging him off. Robbie wanted to keep Martinelli over signing Mbappe. It was the worst take in football YouTube history. You see you lot out this slander.
Has someone got a gun to the back of your head?
What are you stuttering for? Just say what you don't want to say it, innit?
I'm tired of waking up every morning. Transfer daily. Nico Williams is the topic every day for 60 days in the summer.
Make sure you check it out. The Gunners Unfiltered coming to you. We are here for the live tonight. I'm joined by my daughter, Kenya, in the building, right? People, please.
What does that mean?
Apologies for being late.
Oh yeah, sorry we're late.
Honestly, look, she'll back me up on this,
sorry,
right?
We're late, guys.
Had an absolute disaster getting home today. Like the amount of accidents on the roads. And listen, let's hope that all those people that are involved in those accidents got home safe or are getting home safe. That's minimum compared to, us getting here. But it was just we get past one, then there'd be another. We get past one, then there'd be another. But listen, we're here. We made it. Yeah. And first time she's joining me on a stream.
Yeah. Actually, you made me jump in that stream one time when you locked me out the house. Do you remember that?
Where was that?
I think actually it might be on DR. Other channels available, as I would say. But
female tie.
You remember? I think I was knocking on the door. He was live, and I was like, "Yo, I was freezing outside."
Oh yeah. Guys, I'm gonna have to swivel this mic around a bit just to, when we're talking, right? Because we've only got one mic, right? But wanted to get Kenya on today. She's been, a lot of people have been saying that you want to get rid of me and bring Kenya in, right? And I can see why, because she's been brilliant on some of these streams. Arsenal Spartan says, big up Robbie and daughter, great duo. Robbie is the original pioneer, right? So big up to you. And this person here, Tamina says, hi, Robbie and Kenya. How are you doing today? We're doing good. A bit late, but you spoke your name wrong.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, my name is also shared by a country, but I've got H on the end, just for everyone to know for future reference.
Yeah, so it's Kenya with a H on the end.
Kenya with a H to make it a bit different. Yeah, look, but big up everybody.
There's Noel there. Noel says, shout out Kenya. All right. Mr. Kaplan's in the building. Yes, big up Mr. Kaplan. He says, big up Kenya. So good to see you live, sis. Large up my people. Yes, right. Enough of the niceties, right? Listen, let's get stuck into it today. We're starting off with this one big story that was, posted by the guys on AFTV today about Gabriel.
Yeah, I mean,
you've been reading into this one. Tell the people what they're saying about Gabriel.
Apparently, Saudi clubs like Al Nassr are interested in it. Well, more than interested, want to buy him.
Yeah,
trying to offer him 100 mil. Well, trying to offer, I think, us to buy him 100 mil, which is obviously a massive fee, and then also trying to lure him in with mega wages, which obviously the Saudis can do. And yeah, I mean, it's not really a surprise, is it? Because remember, I think last season, start of last season, he was dropped for those 3 games because he was kind of flirting with Saudi, and they're kind of back in, and allegedly they're also in chats with his camp. So it is massive news. I mean, what do you even say about it?
Well, listen, first of all, you know what? Funny enough, right? Last night, me and James were sort of talking about this a bit. We were talking about the importance of keeping players. And I was like, he put a scenario there where I think he said something like, what if we sold Gabriel, but they were able to bring in Isak and this player and that? I think he said sold Gabriel and somebody else. I can't remember exactly what he said. And I was like, no, I don't want us to be selling Gabriel. We need to be building upon what we've got. We've got a fantastic defense now, right? We've got Gabriel and Saliba. That partnership is the best partnership in the Premier League. They've got the best defense, Arsenal. Why weaken that? Why go and change that?
No, I agree.
So, you know, and he asked me, well, you know, he was asking me about it. I said, the only problem I have is that, do I trust this board to not sell Gabriel for £100 million? And then the other thing is, right, is the temptation that may come Gabriel's way, because
that's massive money. That's massive money. The equivalent to that for a normal person is, if imagine you're at work and then someone else headhunts you and says, we're going to give you, you're on 50K this year. If you join my company, you'll be on 100K and you'll get it tax free. And I don't know, you'll be living in a really nice house and you'll be doing the same stuff, but it might be a bit more relaxed. Like it's almost an offer you can't turn down. You know what I mean?
What are you trying to do? Sell it to him? You know what I mean? Because it is an offer you can turn down.
I'm just saying,
right?
Like, it's one of them offers that's like a one in a lifetime thing. Do you know what I mean? Not many other people get that opportunity. So you can understand why a lot of players look at John Duran. John Duran's like 21 and he went to Saudi. So it goes to show that although the league is not the Premier League, there's a lot of incentive to go there.
All right. Well, listen, if you, and you're talking a lot of sense, because if you think about it, who is right now the highest earning English footballer around? Highest earning, the footballer that takes the English footballer who takes home the most amount of wages every single week.
They're English.
Yep.
I don't know. Who is it?
Have a think.
I'm thinking. I'm trying to think about.
Let me see if anybody in the comments gets it. Who is the highest paid English footballer right now?
Harry Kane?
Nope.
I don't know.
Right, let me go. Let me go for a few. Wait, we'll go for a few. Let me just. I think you might know who it is now, but let me get a few. This guy says Rashford. Nope, no, it's not Rashford. It's not Chris Smalling. Right. A lot of you are starting to suss it out right now. It's not Jordan. It's not Jordan Henderson. It's not Phil Foden. It's not Kai Havertz because he's German, right? Who else we got there before? You know, a few of you are starting to get. All right, let me just reveal it right now. I'll pick a random person who got it right, and I'm not going to pick Ryan because he probably cheated. Right, let's go, Mr. Kaplan. He got it right. Ivan Toney on £400,000 a week, tax free. Tax free. So you think about a lot of other players. Maybe a Rashford's on about, what is he on about? 350?
Yeah, something like that.
But he has to pay tax. He's probably paying like 40% tax on that. Ivan Toney is getting 400 bags tax free, right?
That's wild.
So you can see why some of these players do end up in Saudi Arabia, and it will be tempting for somebody like Gabriel.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I'm not saying that he should go, but if that was me, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I should stay. If someone's offering you like that amount of money, and Gabriel's
all about money, though.
No, football's obviously about winning things, but also you want to make as much money as possible. It's just how life is. In life in general, you obviously want to be doing a job that you enjoy, but you also want to make money, or you also want to exceed in everything that you do. So you can understand why footballers do that. And then also, like, you think about how many people footballers provide for. It's not just their wife and their kids. It's their parents, their cousins and whatever, their village back home, whoever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but let's just have it right. And I mean, Gabriel's not exactly skint, is he? And he'll be on good money. And I think the other thing you have to think about is this as a footballer. All right, you could go to Saudi, you can get humongous amounts of money tax-free, right? However, what about the standard of football you're playing? No disrespect to them, but they're miles behind us when it comes to the standard of football. That's why they're buying in players from the Premier League. What about the crowds you play in front of? You're not going to be playing in front of 60,000 fans every week, so you're going to lose all of that. You're not going to be playing alongside, well, if you go to Al Nassr, you could be playing alongside a Ronaldo or a John Duran, but you're not going to be really playing alongside the real elites or playing in the real elite competitions like the Champions League? And then what are your chances for playing, say, for Brazil, if you're Gabriel? Because look at Ivan Toney. Despite what I said, he was in the England squad when he was over here playing for, Brentford. And now he's gone to Saudi. He's got that big move. He's still scoring goals over there. He's not even being considered for the England team.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring up Brazil because I think out of all of those, I'd say that's probably the one. Not saying that the winning the Premier League is any less, but obviously a lot of players have an emphasis on playing for their national team. And Brazil is obviously, how many other Brazilians are there like that plays at the top level? Do you know what I mean? I remember Brazilians talking about other centre backs that should be playing ahead of Gabriel. Now he's kind of got a place in the team. Do you want to sacrifice that for however much money you could potentially be making each week? There's actually a lot of factors into it. There's a sacrifice that comes with making that money, and the sacrifice is you give up playing at the top level. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I can't knock a player for thinking about it because it is a lot of money.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm hoping and praying that Gabriel's not thinking about it. Let's get some comments going. Don Arsenal TV says, I'd rather Saliba leaves than Gabriel. We can always find the next Saliba, but not Gabriel. I don't want any of them to leave.
I massively disagree with that. Name me like 5 other players that are like Saliba. That's another player that you just don't want to leave. Name me. That's why Real Madrid are trying to chase us down for him. That's why all these other clubs are trying to find a next Saliba. Like he's a one and only kind of guy at the moment. There's not many other centre backs like him. So absolutely no to that comment.
Yeah, absolutely no sense as far as this guy just says bye Gabby. As soon as he's heard about the money, right? We've got here. Amson says, yeah, but the money talks, Robbie. Money can make anyone change their mind. It's most certainly true. This one, Musa says, run me my 100 M's blood. So he'd be right out the door. He'd be gone in a fit, exactly. Right? Sebastian says he can play till he's 33, 34. That's, but then the problem is if you are him, this opportunity may not come again from Saudi Arabia, So this is a good one here coming from Kwanzaa. He says some players have already come back to Europe from Saudi. The money only does so much for some, it seems. And that is very true. I mean, Jordan Henderson, who's now got back into the England team, is back. He's come back to Europe. He's playing at Ajax. He wasn't, getting a looking ready. Actually, no, he did get selected when he was in Saudi for the first squad. But then he was out of that. He was out. And now he's back in the team. In the England squad, now he's playing back in Europe.
Yeah, I mean Talisca as well. I think he was at Al Nassr. Now he's gone to Fener or Galatasaray, something like that. So yeah, you can come back. It's not that you can't come back, but it's more of like you've been away for so long. Like, okay, for Gabriel specifically, right? You're in a team that is trying to win a league and trying to win big things, right? If you leave that team, you're going to get replaced by somebody else. When you try to come back now, you're going to have to fight for your place. You've already rightfully earned your place in the team, but it's not a given when you come back that you're going to be in another team that's going to go on to win things, or do you know what I mean? Or you're going to be playing at the top level. Do you know what I mean? There's always those risks and those factors into it. So yeah, you can go and come back. I think as well, what you could say about that is like, you can make that argument for John Duran, who's like 21. Like he could go to Saudi for 3 years, get the bag, come back. He's still got so much of his career to play. How old is Gabriel? Like 27 maybe?
27, I think.
27? So let's say he goes to Saudi for 3 years or something, or 2 years. Teams like Arsenal, teams like Chelsea or whatever, they might look at it like, we want to invest in something young, which is what a lot of teams do these days. So there's a lot of risk and factor that goes into it.
Yeah, definitely. Amazon said Henderson still earned a lot of money in the 6 months at Saudi, equivalent to he would have earned 5 years in Liverpool. I think actually because he left and he broke his contract, they didn't have to fulfill all that money, and I think he had to then pay a certain amount of taxes on it. If I'm being, that's what I saw. You have to fulfill the contracts to get the full benefits of the money. So This one coming from Ben Ray. He says, if there's one player that bleeds for Arsenal, it's Big Gabby. I don't get why our fans are talking about him like some mercenary. No, now, obviously, we're not saying he is a mercenary. We're not saying he's going to go. You can bleed Arsenal, right? But when those flapping those notes in front of your face, it's a lot of money, and it's certainly something that, listen, any human being's going to consider. But Arsenal have to make sure they hold on to him at all costs. James was saying it last night. Berta, when he comes in, his first job is to tie these guys down. Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, who we also hear that, yesterday they're sorting out a new contract for. That's his first job, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like, these guys are the core of the team. They're the spine of the team. And if you sell even one of them, next season is completely different. Not to say that next season won't be different, and there could be other things. But once you sell someone in that team, or you take one of those players for granted, things look different. Look at what Liverpool's going through right now. They've got 3 world-class players, and because their owners disrespected those players and said, yo, Mo Salah, idiot thing, he's like 32 or something. He's going to be 30, whatever next year. Let's allow it. Van Dijk. I'm like, Trent could be going to Real Madrid on a free because they didn't tie those things down. Virgil van Dijk, who's like, do you know what I mean? He's captain of Liverpool. He's a great player for his club and country. Could be going. Mo Salah, look how many goals he scored this season. Who else can be doing that in the league? He could be going for free. So it's so important that our new sporting director, he's got a massive job. Because like I said earlier, we got teams like Real Madrid sniffing around at Saliba, saying that, look at that guy. That guy's amazing. You could be playing with Mbappe. You could be playing with this guy. You could be potentially winner of something every season. You have to lock these guys down. Like, they are the future of the squad. They're the spine of the squad for a reason. They're our best players. And I think Gabriel's definitely a part of that. Yeah. He's one of our best players.
Let's get into the comments are coming in on rapid on this one. The middle nigger says 150 mil. Listen, me personally, I said this last night. Don't sell, whether it's 150 mil or 2. We got to stop this. Listen, I know it's not you, mate. You know what I mean? But we got to stop this at Arsenal Football Club. That just as soon as big money comes, like, we're ready to sell. Yeah. We got to become like the elite clubs where they're just like, we ain't selling. Yeah. We don't care if it's 150. We don't care if it's 200. Did you not hear what we said? We're not selling. Talk again, and I'm putting this phone down. That's how I want to see Arsenal be when it comes to our star players. No, says Echo 452. Robert says, if Gabriel leaves, Saliba will leave. And who will replace the pair? Well, that's very true. Them two seem very close. That's a very good, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very close. I think, they talk about how they speak in French together when they play together, and, how they trust each other. And I think that's actually 2 positions on a pitch where there has to be some type of matrimony. You have to know your it's almost like playing with your spouse or something. You've got to know your other half. So if you take one of them out, what happens to the other?
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. El Bag says RVP and Cesc were bleeding Arsenal, and look what happened. Yeah, that's very true. Right. Kwanzaa says Gabby's camp could just be using the Saudis' interests to negotiation tactic for his new contract. Very true. That definitely happens.
Yeah, no, I think I think before January, anyways, there was all these little links to Mo Salah, and they've kind of quietened down now. But they can be used almost beta club. Look at Kimmich. Kimmich, all this stuff was coming out how Arsenal are linked to him. Then soon after, Bayern were like, you know what, we want to keep this guy, and they got him a new contract.
Yeah. And a new nice contract for him.
Yeah, exactly. Nick
says, Gabby isn't stupid. He's from Brazil and he's a family man. His daughter is incredibly lucky to have a British passport. They're not the only passport in the world. You know what I mean? There's other good passports as well. He says, happy family not about to take their 3-year-old daughter to the Middle East. Why not? Nick, let me tell you something, yeah? When you go to some of these countries in the Middle East, right? I haven't been to Saudi Arabia yet. I'm actually going there soon, actually. But I haven't been to Saudi Arabia yet, but from what I've heard from people that have gone down there, they're all saying amazing country, great facilities for everything, great schools, right? You know, if you've got the money, obviously the facility is there. When I went to Qatar, unbelievable schools, unbelievable facilities. Same goes for Dubai. Same goes for, you know, Abu Dhabi. Same goes for Bahrain. All these. Listen, the Middle East is advanced, very, very advanced, right? There is nothing really here that they ain't got down there. So, you know what I mean? You know,
Look,
and the one thing that they've got down there in abundance is money. And it's a very safe place as well. And, you know, if you want to bring your kids there, you know, it's a very safe place to live. So, Amson says Brazilian players love the bag. Oscar left Chelsea to play in China and played there for the rest of his career. That is true.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
He only just come back the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Going
back to what that guy said though about like Saudi and that. Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo moved his whole family out there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Gabriel lived in France before he came to Arsenal. Like, this is just the life of footballers. They move around a lot. And it's a sacrifice that you make as a footballer. You kind of sacrifice those things for your family. But obviously you don't necessarily want to move a lot, but it happens.
Yeah.
It's a reality of football.
Yeah. This one here says Canadian Guna, excuse me, 1995 says Liverpool sold Coutinho and look where they are now. That's very true. But listen, Gabriel is so integral to Arsenal that I think is a little bit different.
Oh, Melina.
Miss Melina.
Yes, Mel, how are you?
Oh, you know her?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, no wonder she's saying Kenya's board knowledge is so good. Give her own show, Don Robbie. So what, you got your friends coming on now trying to make you get a show?
It's not like that, but you heard the people, innit?
No, I said you just said it's your friend and you know her very well.
Oh, big her up.
So you just, you know what I mean?
What, you don't want to listen to the super chat?
Just some little conspiracy theories.
No,
but you just said you know her. So, and all of a sudden she's coming with some real good thing about board knowledge and that.
My brethren,
man. VM says, really go to the country with a Mergers regime. No thanks. That's up to you, VM. Listen, it's not the only country where, you know, people have accused them of having, you know, some people say that even about places like America. Listen, I haven't been there, so I don't know. I'm going to be going there soon and I'll be able to get a greater take on the country. But all I know is that whether we like it or not, they are attracting big sporting events. And like you said, you just made a good point there, Kenya. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's moved his whole family there. He hasn't just been there for a few months.
Yeah.
He's been there now for a couple of seasons, and he says he loves it there.
Yeah, he loves it there. Look, it's easy for us, because we live here, it's easy for us to make a snap judgment, but you need to remember, footballers don't live like us as well. They live in the biggest of houses. They live a life of luxury. So their lifestyle, whether it's in England, Dubai, Qatar, Saudi, wherever it is going to be much different. And that's something that they might factor into their potential moves. Simple as that.
Is that Ryan?
Yes,
Kenya's
Ryan.
own show sounds good.
See, I didn't even tell Ryan to say that.
Yeah, another person, another friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you introduced me to Ryan.
I know he might get sacked. Right. This is a great point here from DT247. He says, we need to make big signings before some of these players will commit. Now, these players, I think, some of these players are going to want guarantees.
Yeah.
That this something, because you know what, right? We talk about this, and you was with me earlier on today. I was doing a podcast with John Obi Mikel. It's going to come out on his channel. Big up to him, even though he's Chelsea. Don't worry, I gave it to him. A lot of stick about Chelsea. But, you know, it is true, right, that, you know, the players will be looking on it because the players will understand with what's gone on this season. Yeah. They'll know that, you know, they'll be secretly saying, maybe Gabriel and Saliba, in particular, the defenders, might be saying, you know what, we've done our job. Yeah. We've done our job, but why didn't they go and get some strikers? You know what I mean? What was wrong with them, man? Why? And then in January, they still didn't get anyone, and now we've just been struggling and we've fallen off. And they might be looking at it and thinking, you know what? I'll sign, but I need some guarantees that Arsenal are going to be very ambitious in the transfer market, are going to make some great signings, aren't they? Yeah,
exactly. Look, that's why you look at the Van Persies and the Cesks, that's why they left, because there were no guarantees that this club wanted to continue on the biggest of stages. And the reality is, Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Declan Rice, all those, they're all deserving of a Premier League. They're all deserving of a Champions League. But this club has failed them at so many points. January is a perfect example of where the club has failed the players. If I'm Gabriel, right, I look at Gabriel. Gabriel's been, in my opinion, our best player this season, right? From start to finish. He's been one of the best defenders in the league. If I'm Gabriel, I'm looking at it like, I'm scoring, I'm defending, I'm going away in Europe, I'm scoring. What else more do I need to do for this club to follow through with what I'm doing? It takes two to tango, do you know what I mean? And I get it. The club has to show some level of ambition. There has to be promises. Mikel Arteta now needs to turn around to Saliba, says, I know every club in Europe is looking at you, but I promise you we're getting over the line. That has to be enough. You have to make promises. You have to deliver.
Yeah, they're gonna want to know that some big players are coming in. They're gonna want to know that, next season Arsenal can mount another challenge, but not just another challenge, but a challenge that is capable, with a team capable of winning the league and the Champions League. Yeah. So this is, that's ambition. Mr. Kaplan's back in here, so he says 20 likes on this, super, and Don gives Kenya her show. Only 20 likes. Yeah. Well, I want about 1,000 likes for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll get that.
Mr. Kaplan says you can't take anything to Madrid. We're a big club, no? And I don't want to see like Gabriel or any of these players going to Madrid. We got to hold on to these players. Exactly. And Rai says, what's going on in this, man? Well, Kenya in, Robbie out. Let her take over AFTV now. So you want me gone?
No. Guys. Let the man do his job. I'm just hearing it. I'm the apprentice.
They want me out.
Nah, man. If there ain't no dad, there ain't no me. So twin package.
Oh my days, man. I'll tell you though. This is one to watch going into the summer, because and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, Gabriel and Saliba, those contracts need to be renegotiated. They need to be put on big money.
Yeah.
They need to be made. Gabriel, Saliba, Saka.
Definitely done.
Obviously, Rice already on a long contract. But those players, for me, those contracts need to be tied down into. They need those Chelsea contracts.
Need the Chelsea 365 contract, the death row contract, where it's like 10 years and that's it. 10 years with an option to extend for 20. That's what we need.
Oh, by the way, thank you, Ollie J. Thank you. I've got some support here.
Big up, Ollie.
Gabby ain't gonna go to Saudi for football in success. He wouldn't.
Yeah, but nobody goes at the moment. Nobody's going there for football and success. The money.
No, but listen, every player that's going there is for the money. Even Cristiano Ronaldo went there for the money. Also, he went there because he was leading a sort of a revolution in their football league, and but ultimately the reason why they're able to attract these players is the money. But you know what? The thing is, right? Let's not get all bougie about it here, because the reason why these players come to the Premier League is the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because the Premier League pays by far more money, unless it's Real Madrid or Barcelona. There's no team in Europe, really. PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern.
Yeah, actually, Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Bayern Munich. Those are the only clubs in Europe that can really compete with the wages of the football clubs in this country. That is why, teams like Southampton, Wolves, all these teams, they're full of internationals. They can attract them. They can pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Ipswich and these teams can afford to pay players 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds a week.
Yeah.
There are clubs right at the top of La Liga and Serie A. They can't afford that.
Yeah.
So people you're coming here as well because, all right, you're going to be playing for teams that are established institutions. That's true. And you're coming here as well. But the reason why they come to the Premier League over a lot of the other leagues is because the Premier League pays the most money.
Do you know what's a good example of that? Look at Riccardo Calafiori. He's a perfect example of, he's a young Italian up-and-coming footballer, and Juventus couldn't get him because they couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
And he came to Arsenal. And like 10 years or 15 years ago, you would have never heard of that. Do you know what I mean? And that just goes to show the pulling power of the Premier League. Even just like teams that we'd say are average teams in the Premier League, like you said, have internationals, have big players in them because they can afford to pay them whatever.
Yeah, the wages that we pay here is insane. So it's the same thing. It's just that in Saudi, their football's obviously not as established as, you know, but the wages they can pay is absolutely insane. They blow every single body out of the water when it comes to those wages. Lib231 Gunner says, let's replace Robbie with Kenya. It's time for retirement.
Nah, man.
Retirement. Hey, what are you not trying to do to me tonight, man? They're trying to get rid of me, man. I'm telling you, they're trying to get rid of me. There's some other news as well today, and you were telling me as we were driving in a car, and we was coming home today, and you want to tell everybody about Saka?
Yeah, I just saw some rumors about Saka potentially playing on grass, training back at sober reality on grass, running around, which is that's big news for us. I mean, we've been hearing the last couple of weeks that they want to get him back for Real Madrid. I think there was another rumor that they want to try and get him on the bench for Fulham. And when I was hearing that, I was like, yeah, but this is more of dreaming. Like, he's had a really serious injury. But if this rumor is true, which is come from a leak that, to be honest, a lot of people, every time he said something, it's been pretty true so far. That's a massive thing for Arsenal.
Would you play him in the Real Madrid games?
I think it depends on what he's like. I don't think you should rush Saka back. I'm 100% against that. I think if he's not ready, don't play him. If he has to come on off the bench, then cool. If he's ready, then fine. But it's more of him as a person. I don't think it's worth rushing back a player for a one-off game. And potentially
2 legs.
I should say 2 legs. When the reality is that could maybe cause more damage in the future. But if it's okay, then I'm not really against it.
I don't think Arsenal will take a risk with him.
Yeah, I don't.
If there's any chance of him breaking down, but if he's fully fit, I don't see no reason why he should play now. The interviews that we've done, the 2 interviews that regarding that where I've spoken to Dr. Andre.
Yeah.
The initial one, he said 4 to 6 months minimum.
Yeah.
Right? 4 to 6 months. Right? So got injured at the end of December. And now that's 4 months. It's April. We're now in April. We're in the middle of April.
Well, no, we're going into April.
Sorry, we're going into So we're going into April. That's 4 months.
Yeah.
And the manager said that, he's looking like very positive that I could be back after the international break. After the international break is April.
Yeah.
So that's the 4 months. So he might be at the spectrum where he's done really, really well. He's looking good. He's looking healthy. That first game is on the 8th of April.
Yeah.
The second game is on the 15th of April.
Yeah. So
if he is fit, all right, maybe he doesn't start that first game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like bring him back, ease him in for a couple of, 15 minutes there or 15 minutes there. But maybe he might have a part to play in that second game.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that second game, when we look at that second game, we're talking like that's nearly a month away.
Yeah.
The second leg. Yeah. So I wouldn't discount it. No, I wouldn't discount it.
You can't discount it. I mean, the reality is there's a possibility that he could play. There's a possibility that he could be a part of the squad. But it's more of, is there a responsibility from the club? Do you rush back? Not saying that we would rush him back, but let's say Arteta's looking at it like, right, he's 95%. Do you rush that 5%, knowing there's a 5% risk? Or do you just say, right, we just want to wait. We just want to be sure. Because to me, Saka's our biggest and best asset. He's, to me, one of the most irreplaceable players in this team. And I don't want us to make a snap decision based on a 2-legged game against Real Madrid just because we haven't played them for about 20 years. Saka is the guy for the team. Don't make a rash decision. Make sure it's the right decision and make sure he's ready. I understand players, especially like Saka, want to play every game. And I know he's probably got in the back of his mind like, right, I want to play against Real Madrid. It's the most esteemed game you're going to ever play as a player. Do you know what I mean? But there also is there's there's a level of accountability and responsibility by our medical team, by our manager. And look, the reality is we could be going to the Bernabeu with Saka, but we could also be going without him.
Yeah, listen, so I saw somebody say they're grade 3 tear. He actually had surgery on his hamstring. Yeah. One of the other things the doctor was saying is that sometimes after that surgery to the hamstring, his hamstring's actually stronger than it was before. He goes, like, it can, because you've had the surgery on it, it can come back stronger. It can also not come back stronger. He also said, I always remember Dr. Andre saying that you don't want to, you know, like an asset like Saka is so vital to Arsenal's team that you don't want to, you know, rush him back and anything happens, because like he's such a big player. But I don't think Arsenal would rush him back. I don't think Arsenal are going to rush back Saka if he's got a risk of getting injured. I don't think they'll run that risk. But if they can get him back and he's fit, boy, would that be a boost. Imagine Saka, right? It's like, even if he's a sub and it's like 0-0 and he comes on at the Emirates, right? Imagine that place.
Yeah. Bro.
It's going to be electric. Like, it's the sort of thing that can give that boost. You know what I mean?
That's our version of Messi coming back. Like, I'm not even joking. That's our version of like Messi coming off the bench or something for us. That's how important Saka is to our team. So, yeah, imagine if it was 0-0 and Saka's fit and he comes off the bench. I know I'm screaming. I know I'm going to be gassed. That whole place would be like up in like, and even those Real Madrid players, they'd be thinking, right, he's come back from injury, but they're also thinking, crap, that's Bukayo Saka. That's the guy that gives everybody trouble. You're doubling, tripling up on him. So, I mean, I can't lie. I want to see it. I want him to be back.
I want to see.
I want him to be back.
I don't want him. I don't want him rushed back. Obviously, right?
Yeah, we don't want him rushed back.
When I say rush back, I don't want him like playing when we don't need to play him.
Yeah.
Right, because he's too vital a player. But if he is fit, if he's got that, honestly, that could be such a boost to this Arsenal team, right? To have him back. That, you know what I mean, it would be ridiculous not to bring him in. So let's see. It's going to be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks whether he does come back or not. Rye2896 says, question with a super chat. Thank you. He says, question for both of you. Are you confident that this will be a massive summer window for Arsenal due to Andrea Berta being our new sporting director soon? Bar Isak Gyökeres, what other players do you want? Let's go with you, Kenneth, first. Are you confident, first of all, that, you know?
See this club, yeah. If you had asked me that last summer, I would have said, yeah, I'm confident we're going to have a big summer, and we didn't. So we don't know what the club's going to do, but this has to be a big summer, especially now that you've not done anything in January. So from what I see, you got money. Why are you sitting on your money? And we're also going to sell a lot of players. So this summer has to be big. And in terms of who I'd want, out of selfish reasons, I really like Florian Wirtz. But we'd never do it.
So then what happens to Odegaard?
What about him? What about him?
Oh my days, man.
No, guys. I love
this ruthless streaks come from. Jeez.
I love Odegaard, but this season showed me that number one, we need somebody else there as well. We also need another flair off the bench or somebody else who can start and rival that position. And
so Florian Wirtz, anybody else?
You know what, right? I mean, people say Zubimendi, but I'm not crazy about Zubimendi. I'm not going to lie. I've not seen anything from him that I really, really love. But there's other DMs. What about an Adam Wharton from Palace? He's younger. He's a bit more athletic. He knows the league.
Costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it costs a bit of money, but then how much is Zubimendi going to cost us? I don't know. There's a few players. I mean, obviously, Nico Williams, for me, try and get him as well. We definitely need a left winger. Like, we need someone who's got the potential to be of a Saka level, and I think he does. And we need someone just as deadly on the other side. So that's what I'd want as well. We've got a lot of things to address.
Okay. For me, am I confident? After what went on in January, my confidence is low. I don't know if I can trust him, but at least Andrea Berta is a proper sporting director. So that's the first step that's good. Yeah. And I think the other thing is when you're coming in as a new sporting director, you want to make your mark.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I think it's when Mislintat came in, he bought Aubameyang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes when you come in as a new sporting director, you want to kind of say, like, listen, I'm going to make my mark with a signing. So I think that's positive, but we need a striker.
Yeah.
Right? The Zubimendi and
I can't lie,
all that. Right? Listen, I'd be happy with Zubimendi. Despite what we saw of him against, Liverpool, Man United the other day, that's a one-off game. He was coming back from an injury. He's still highly rated. There's lots of teams after him. I'm okay with that signing. However, I need to see a striker. I need to see a striker. If Isak is not available, then they need to go for somebody that's going to come in and score goals. Go and explore Lautaro Martinez at Inter. Is there a possibility that he could be let go? If there is, that's the type of player I'd love to see Arsenal get in. You know,
there's a lot of, I think striker-wise, there's a lot of options. Remember, there's Victor Osimhen who's out there. He's not. I think he's on loan at Galatasaray. He's not being purchased. There's Victor Gyökeres. There's Sesko. There's so many other options. Who's that guy that plays? Who's that guy that plays at Lille? He's going on a free.
Jonathan David.
I'm not saying that he's the answer, but he might be a good backup or something to explore. There's so many options out there. There's actually no excuse not to get some. If we end the season or end that summer and we haven't addressed that striker issue, heads have to roll, man. Because there's no.
He'd be the new guy. Yeah. So he said, wouldn't.
There's no excuse not to. But what kind of gives me confidence in Berta?
Martinez, 27.
What gives me confidence in Berta is that when you look at what he did at Atletico, he actually signed a lot of strikers. That's like one position that he's bought quite a bit in.
Yeah, because he bought in Julian Alvarez.
But he bought in, I think I saw AFTV post. He brought in Diego Costa.
Yeah, he bought in.
So he's actually brought in some, and those are actually quality strikers. Yeah. Those are people that have worked. We must.
Yeah, and then he'll come to us now, you know what I mean, and go and buy like I don't know, you know what I mean, some little
Calvert-Lewin.
He's available on a free, right? Calvert-Lewin, he's available on a free.
No? I didn't even want. Remember before we got Jesus, we were linked to like Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Jesus. Yeah. I was like, just like, what kind of options is that?
We need an elite.
We need a top level
striker. But my fear is, well, not fear. Listen, they get him, I'll take him. But I feel that it's going to be Sesko.
Yeah. Look, we need somebody. I'm not going to say beggars can't be choosers, but I also think I can choose. And I think
we're not we shouldn't be beggars. We're going to have money to spend.
I do think that there is a better option out there, and that's Victor Gyökeres. And I just don't understand why. I'm not slating Sesko at all. I think he's good. But as I call him, so far, I see him as a spicy Havertz. His numbers are similar to Havertz this season as well. That really worries me. And I understand that you could say...
Let me see.
You could sit here and say, well, Alexander Isak, before he went to Newcastle, I think he scored like 5 or 6 goals. But I also do think, I don't know, like something about it, it's just like, it worries me. I look at Victor Gyökeres like, that guy would be perfect. That guy would be perfect. Look at what other defenses have been able to contain him. He's so good.
That's 25 games in the Bundesliga, 10 goals, 5 assists, 1 yellow card. That is Sesko.
Okay. I'm pretty sure Havertz has 9.
Not prolific, but...
Yeah, that I can't lie.
25 games, 10 goals.
That worries me. That's somebody that... I see the striker as the person that's going to help push you over the line. We're just like this far away from winning a league. We've got a few things to add on. And I look at Sesko like, right, he would be a good asset for Arsenal. But I'm like, are we also looking at this like, right, he's 21, he's young, he'd be good for the future. I don't care about the future, I care about now. I want to win the league now. And I do really worry about that. I'm not gonna lie, I really do worry.
Lautaro Martinez, 17 goals this season.
Yeah, he's top. He's quality. But I don't know. I don't think he'd leave Inter. I think he really likes Inter.
Yeah, 27. This is we're gonna have to start going. You know what, right? I remember doing like the transfer daily, and we were discussing on many days. We were talking about Mamouche, and it was like, but he's not leaving. He's at City now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about how you got to go out there with a big offer for some of these. These strikers, you got to go out there with a big offer. Keep talking there because I'm checking out some of the stats on some of these strikers. So what did you say, Victor Osimhen?
Yeah, look at Victor Osimhen, for example. He's top. You said earlier he's top goal scorer in the thing league, in the Turkish league.
In the Turkish league, he is.
I mean, I know the Turkish league quality-wise isn't highest, but then you could also say that. I guess you could also say that for the Portuguese league. But I also look at what those players also have done in like their European competition. So Victor Osimhen in European competitions has been really good.
Victor Osimhen, 22 games, 20 goals.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the Bundesliga is harder to score in than the Turkish league, but this guy's done it before. He's done it in Serie A as well.
Yeah.
And he's doing it again. 22 games, 20 goals. That's brilliant.
And then you think about Victor Osimhen. Like even at France, he was scoring loads of goals. When he was at Lille, he was scoring loads of goals. He's a guy where you look at his record, almost everywhere he's gone, he's banged. And I actually think he'd be perfect for the Premier League.
All right. Victor Gyökeres, 25 games, 28 goals, 5 assists.
So he scored more goals than Salah this season in his domestic league.
28 goals in that league.
Why are we not considering this guy? Why are we not looking at him?
Also, remember, he scored 6 goals in the Champions League. Obviously, he's out of that now, but 6 goals in the Champions League. Yeah, I mean,
I think
he's been prolific.
I think he's even had a few injuries.
And he's had injuries.
He's had injuries this season as well. Like this is a guy like, and then you think about what he does for Sweden. He's so good. He benches Alexander Isak for Sweden.
Yeah.
Like this is the type of guy that Turkish is in the chat apparently. Big up Turkish.
Turkish heard about
Turkish is here.
Turkish heard about transfers, right? And then he started coming. You watching come here, come disrespect now. Look. By the way, did you have a good birthday yesterday?
Yeah, big up, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my friend.
But now we need someone. I think in the striker department, it has to be someone that we know can rise. I think every other position you can maybe take a bit of a gamble, but that is the one that all Arsenal fans are joining and saying we need a guy, we need the guy, not just any guy who's scoring 10 goals here and 10 goals and whatever. He needs to be prolific, top level.
Pundit 99 says Semenyo over Nico Williams, and Nico's been poor. He plays for Bilbao. That's like Southampton. No, is he talking about? Bilbao are like fourth in La Liga. They're into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Yeah. And I think he started to pick it up now. He's away with Spain at the moment in the Spanish squad. Yeah. He's quality. We saw him in the Euros. He's a quality player. So I'd have no problem with signing him. Wilson Clan says Sesko is not the second coming. Thuram's who he needs. Isak is who we want. Thuram's another one that's been heavily. He's been linked. I like Thuram. Thuram is good. I'll check out his stats. Let me just do this super chat as well. From Tyree says has to be Gyökeres. Done it in the Championship 2022-23.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean,
who's Turkish one?
Oh, Turkish is just put in hearts. Big up Turkish.
He's being nice today.
I mean,
because you're here.
When you talk about Nico Williams, right? I feel like the best way for me to describe Nico Williams for Bilbao is the way Saka is for us. So when people talk about his goals, I don't know how many assists Nico Williams has, but he is the main creator for that team. So he creates almost everything that goes into the back of that net. Now, I think, of course, at Arsenal, he would be a player that would be creating a lot, but he would also be on the end of things a lot. And I feel like in that sense, he's a player that stats are very, stats can be very deceiving. You look at his stats like,
Well, look at his stats now for this season. 24 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. So, I mean, that's not been great. Last season, actually, he was 5 goals, 11 assists.
Yeah.
So like you said, he creates a lot. He's not just necessarily his goals, but not exactly prolific goal scoring wise. But that can change, as you said. You know what I mean? I want to look at Thuram's. Thuram's.
I guess it's with Nico Williams.
I do like Thuram.
Yeah, I like Thuram as well. He's good. He's a handful.
Really,
he's a handful as well. Yeah. I wonder how old he is as well.
Thuram, I think, is he?
I mean, would you want to leave?
Like, I'm sure Thuram's like late 20s as well.
Make sure you look at the right one.
Right. Yeah. Thuram this season, 20 8 games, 13 goals, 4 assists. That's not bad.
It's better than Sesko. How old is he?
But Sesko's played 25 games already. Yeah, so...
Does it say how old he is?
How old? Let me just see his age.
Yeah, I mean...
Marcus Thuram is 27.
Okay, that's...
27.
So he's the same age as Lautaro Martinez.
So same age as Lautaro Martinez, same age as Victor Gyökeres.
Osimhen. Did you say Osimhen is
Osimhen,
also 20?
I'm sure he's 20.
Yeah,
I think Osimhen might even be slightly younger than that.
Oh, okay, yeah. You might actually be right. I think Victor Gyökeres might be... Osimhen might be a bit younger.
Yeah.
But also, I just feel like as well, when you look at elite strikers, right, maybe other than Erling Haaland, a lot
26,
of them, a lot of them are kind of in their mid-20s. And I feel like, you know, I'm not really against that. It's just how it is. You don't really find a lot of really good, prolific young strikers anymore, like a Haaland. Like, I can't really think of any off the top of my head. I don't know if anyone in the chat has anybody that we might be forgetting, but I mean, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of options out there that need to be
Patson Daka?
Turkish. Nah.
Right, Sud says, big up Robbie and Robbie's replacement, Kenya. Gosh. Also, happy birthday, Turkish. And your mum, Robbie, for Thursday. Wow. Well, how do you know that?
I think I already mentioned it.
Thoughts with the fam for it. Thank you very much for that, Sid. That's such a nice message. Yeah, apart from getting rid of me. Semenyo. Do you like it? Yes, somebody just said really about Semenyo.
I really like Semenyo as well. I think Semenyo in an Arsenal team, and plus he's an Arsenal fan.
Okay, what about this one? Niffin says, I don't know what all the hype is with Williams. He's so average. Get Lookman or Semenyo.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Lookman?
I like Lookman as well. He's another one where like it didn't start off well with him and maybe early in his career, but he's really picked up. And I think he will definitely want to leave Atalanta after all of the things that have been happening. So yeah, again, those are two more other options that you should look at.
Braintail says, what about Lookman or Retegui for 100 million as a pair? Retegui scored a lot of goals. How many goals has he scored? He was heavily linked.
Yeah, he's really
Retegui.
Sorry, I want to say that.
I'll go with your pronunciation.
Yeah. I think his name is Retegui. I don't know.
Retegui, he was a player that Arsenal were looking at heavily in January. I know that for a fact. But Atalanta just refused to sell him in the end.
Yeah. Wow.
So
he scored a lot.
Retegui, 27 games, 22 goals, 4 assists.
Bring.
and
Bring.
If I remember rightly, he's a decent age as well. Let me just check his age out. Young. It's turned into a bit of a scouting show, this. 25.
Say no more.
Retegui, I think he'd be playing for Italy. Against I think who they got, Spain, Netherlands, I think.
Yeah, no, Germany they're playing.
Germany, sorry, yeah.
I mean, that's a good shout as well.
Listen, I want someone with stats up there.
I want someone.
Actually, all those people that we've named out so far, they've all got way better stats than Sesko.
Yeah.
But do we just go purely off of that though?
No, of course not. I think you have to actually watch a player. So what I could say is like, we've probably watched Lautaro Martinez and Thuram more than, and probably Retegui than the rest of them. We don't really watch like Portuguese league. Yeah, okay, I guess you could argue that it's a bit of a farmers league. I hate to use that phrase, but I guess, you know, I think there's options out there. There are options out there, and I think my only thing with Sesko is that we seem so set that this is the guy, and my only thing is like, there's actually so many other really good guys that I think we should also consider before we make that option.
Word of caution here, and I'm gonna bring in this. Where is it gone? It's getting on. Right. Noodles says we want Rafinha forever too and nothing. Right? We didn't get Rafinha. I remember last summer when Arsenal were being linked to Rafinha. Loads and loads of fans were saying, no, he turned us down the first time, and plus he's just mid. What about Rafinha? Nah. Now he's a big candidate to win the Ballon d'Or, right? So, you know, sometimes a player can be at a club, but he's not really fulfilling his potential. Maybe that player sometimes need to, you know, hasn't hit the ground running yet, or sometimes that player, his style of play doesn't suit the system that he's playing in. I don't know with Sesko. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I have to be honest. I've just seen a few games with Sesko.
Yeah.
And the few games I've seen of him, he looks okay, but I've not. I mean, it's not lit it up.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we could be horribly wrong. He could join Arsenal and he could be amazing, and I'd be really happy. But I'm only saying is that we should consider all options. We shouldn't just say, right, this is the guy, he's 21, he's tall, he's whatever. And I think sometimes we're getting kind of drawn into that a lot, where it's like, right, our team, for example, is really young, it's really tall, it's really athletic. And I'm like, that is good, but what about somebody else who might be a bit smaller but more experienced and has actually got the numbers on the board? What about another guy who's, I don't know, he's a leader of he's benching another striker who's just as incredible in the league, and we're always Arsenal fans saying Alexander Isak's amazing, but this guy's benching him when they're going on international duty. Like, these are all things you have to consider. Like, I'm not saying that I don't like Sesko. I'm not saying that Sesko wouldn't be good. But as of right now, I see a spicy Havertz. That's what I call him.
Okay, Olafemi says Wenger tried to sign Osimhen in 2020 after the under-17 win, but he decided against the move. Always hearing that. Would you take Mateta?
Oh, do you know what? Right, I guess yes, because he's scoring. Look how many goals he's scoring. He's so good. He's got a shout to be in team of the season. He could be an honourable mention for team of the season. Like, yeah, you have to consider him because but then I also just think, like, I don't know, something holds me back just because maybe he's just like massively boomed in his last like season and a half, 2 seasons under Glasner. But yeah, I would be happy with Mateta, but maybe not as the main guy. Just because we've not seen yet a really highly prolific season, although he's scoring a lot of goals.
Hugo Etike, I can never pronounce that name. He's the next Thierry Henry. Check him out, says Wilson. That is a very good player. Frankfurt. Yeah. Didn't they bring him in he's sort of been pushed forward now that Mamouche has gone, and he's scoring he's lightning quick. He's a very good player. Yeah. I think he was originally, was he at Marseille?
I don't know.
I think let me just have a look. I'm sure he's at Marseille, and then it weren't really working for him.
Yeah.
And then they brought him in.
He's really good. I mean, I like him. I wanted us to get him on Mamouche, but
no, he was at PSG.
Oh, he was at PSG.
Yeah, because they bought him. They bought him from I think it was Rennes or somebody like that. Or Reims. Reims they bought him from.
Oh, okay.
Rams, as it's pronounced in France. It didn't really work out for him at PSG, and he's gone to Frankfurt. And he's really good. Tottenham are going to come up against him. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Rice.
Yeah, he's a very, very good player. But so you take Mateta.
I guess you have
not as the main guy, but I would take him because he scores goals and he's also a handful. He's big. He's tall. He can score headers. He can score with his feet. Like, he's actually he's probably if you try to build a 9, like build-wise and everything, he would probably be like perfect build. It's 27, Mateta.
27, okay, yeah.
27 games, 12 goals, 2 assists.
Okay.
Not super prolific, but good. But he's the second half of the season, he's been excellent.
Yeah. I mean, he's out injured now, unfortunately, but he should be back soon. I mean, he's lighting up Palace right now.
Mateta or Sesko?
Oh, Mateta, because he's played in the league.
Oh, it's an interesting question, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say because, I mean, Sesko-wise probably would be more...
Steve says I want Bacola.
You see with Bradley Barcola, though...
Manny says no to KG Mateta.
We see with Barcola, though. I like Barcola, but I also look at him like... Arsenal fans cuss off Martinelli every week, and he's just a similar brand to that type of player. He's really quick. He can cause you issues. He's young, but his end product is also another questionable thing. So I feel like I like him. I'm not against him, but I guess I don't know. I like him.
Listen, I think he'd be very difficult to get away from PSG, despite the fact that they were talking about possibly moving him on, but they've sort of put him over onto the right.
Yeah,
and yeah, and they've got Kvaratskhelia on the.
You must be thinking why. He must be thinking like, why have we got, well, from a personal
but he's still playing well in that position. Yeah. If I'd have said to you guys out there, this is why we got to be careful when we say this thing about Sesko, right?
Yeah.
So I want all of you to answer this honestly, right? You don't have to think. Hey, hold on, what's this? Hey, man, walk on. Hey. Dad's here now.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay, what's going on?
Allow
right?
that, Jay. Allow that one.
Hey,
yeah,
you want to get banned from the channel? Right.
Oh, my God.
But I'm going to ask every one of you this honestly. If I'd have said to you at the end of the season, last season, said, would you take Ousmane Dembele? How many of you would have said, yeah, go and get him, man, yeah.
Yeah, I can't lie, I wouldn't have been one of them people. I wouldn't have been one of those people.
And that's the same with Rafinha as well, last season. And look how good they've been this season. So sometimes we'll be looking on it and we'll be thinking, wow, look at how well this player's playing this season. But as I said, that's not always, you got to look a bit deeper than just the pure stats.
That's why I said though, like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get Sesko, but I just want to make sure that's the right decision. Like, obviously, there's a lot to take into consideration when you buy a player. You don't just look at stats. You go and watch them play.
Yeah.
You go and see what their hold-up players. You go and see what they're like when it comes to linking up with other players on the pitch. So if you look at that and you think, right, this guy's the real deal. He has the potential to go on and win us the league or be a top level player, then cool. But I'm just saying that it shouldn't just be like a snap decision. It shouldn't just be a snap judgment. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Listen, we are coming to the end of the show right now. We have gone over time. We normally go 7 to 8. It's 20 past, but that's because we started a bit late today. Once again, apologies for that because we know we're here at 7 o'clock every night, but we got caught in horrendous traffic. My daughter will back me up. Albert says, Robbie, your daughter's born knowledge is refreshing. Future AFTV post-game fan cams will be epic if she took over. For all of you, they're all trying to get me out.
Nah, guys, I got my ball knowledge from my dad, from watching football with him all the time. So that's where I get it from.
Big up. Ryan says, Sesko's a no-no. Who asked you? Big up to Ryan. Dembele was always good, says James.
But he didn't score. He hardly scored.
Dembele is the main guy at PSG, says that this season, but he weren't last season. You be honest, you guys.
Think about him at like Barcelona and stuff like that. He was sold for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Wu says, but Robbie, the coach is also the reason he developed Dembele to what he is now. That's a great shout. He has, but the last few years, you'd have thought, boy, Dembele, even their own fans were saying it. Red says Dembele too lightweight for the Prem. I don't know, man. Look how he played against Liverpool. Yeah. I don't think you can. You would have leveled at him last year, but this year he's quick, he's aggressive, he's been excellent. Playing as a striker.
I really disagree with that because I feel like France is a very physical league as well. A lot of people discount that because obviously PSG just run the league every year, but it is a very physical league. You can't be lightweight in that league, really. And I think that's why a lot of French talents that kind of leave that league do so well. Like, look at Mbappe, look at Victor Osimhen, look at Saliba and Gabriel. They all came from the French league as well.
Also, Spartan says Dembele had the worst shot before this season,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's actually a good question because, to be honest, Ousmane Dembele is like one of them players where, like, you see, like, similar to, not saying he's similar to Jack Grealish, but you see how Jack Grealish hardly scores and stuff like that. It's one of them players where you're like, this guy, he's so fast, he's strong, he's got no end product. And now look at the season, he's scoring for fun, scoring and assisting for fun. So that's actually a good question. I mean, you can't just base it on stats, but.
Kai says Dembele is a spicy Pepe. No, this season he's been one of the best forward players in Europe. He's been absolutely brilliant, and so it just goes to show that there's certain players you get. I see somebody say there, Don Robbie, let's swap Odegaard for Palmer, but even Odegaard when he was playing abroad, you would have looked at him for okay, he looks all right, he looks decent, but look how good he's become. So. I don't think we can just discount the Sesko thing. You know what I mean? Maybe Sesko is a player that, we've looked at and thought, in our system, the way we play. I mean, could it be that aerially he'd be better than in this league than he's? I've not watched enough of RB Leipzig to know how much aerial, crosses and that they put in for him. You know what I mean? So, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But listen, we've come to the end of the show. 1 hour, 4 minutes. Thank you once again for joining us today. Thank you, Kenya. Your debut on the 7 p.m. lives. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
You come back?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Do you want to back people? You know what I mean? Well, you've all been saying that she should replace me. Maybe when I get home, I can just take her, and chill.
Yeah, let's not go that far. Got work today. Got work today.
But yeah, no, big up to Kenya. And a lot of you guys are saying about her getting her own show. We're actually discussing today some shows. So look out for that. You know what I mean? But listen, thank you very, very much for joining us today. Don't forget to look out for that show with me and Turkish. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Right, Gunners Unfiltered. So make sure you check that out. There's also going to be a supporters club coming. We got Invincible podcast coming out this week as well. We know it's an international break, so we're keeping you as entertained and up to date with everything that's happening as possible. So make sure. I think it's James back tomorrow. Oh no, it's Turkish tomorrow.
Not sure.
Yeah, no, I think Turkish is on tomorrow. So make sure you check out Turkish tomorrow. But thanks for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow. And we're going to leave you. Welcome along to our brand new podcast here on AFTV called Gunners Unfiltered. Bro, I'm not scared of what you're going to say.
7 out of 10 for the transfer window.
You see what he's like, people? Turkish has an agenda against the owners of Arsenal Football Club.
How about we flip the script right now and change the
No, flip the script.
Open up your app now and let me put KSC in the search of transactions.
Remember Dennis Bergkamp?
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Remember Henry? If you was around then, you'd probably be slagging him off. Robbie even wanted to keep Martinelli over signing Mbappe. It was the worst take in football YouTube history. You see you lot out there slander.
Has someone got a gun to the back of your head?
What are you stuttering for? Just say what you don't want to say it, innit?
I'm tired of waking up every morning. Transfer Daily, Nico Williams is the topic every day for 60 days in the summer.